My mom recently tried to force some kind of reconciliation between me and my younger sister Lisa. But instead of fixing anything, it blew up in her face. Now I'm honestly not sure if I even want Lisa in my life anymore. Here's a bit of background. When I was 17, I started dating my brother's best friend John. We were together through high school, and right after graduation he proposed. I turned him down. That stirred up a lot of family drama. People telling me we could just stay engaged for a while or promise to work things out eventually. They really wanted me to reconsider. My relationship with my brother, who's a year older than me, got rocky for a bit, but the one with Lisa never bounced back. She believed that guy was perfect for me, and things got even worse when she started dating his brother. My ex kept showing up at family events, even during the holidays. I didn't say much about it. He was their friend too, after all. But then my sister started going overboard trying to get us back together. She'd set up situations like surprise blind dates or sticking us in the same room over the holidays. No matter what the occasion was, he'd be there. Eventually, I had enough. I asked my parents to help put a stop to it. Thankfully, they talked to my siblings and made it clear that John shouldn't be part of family stuff anymore. It helped a bit. My brother stepped back, but Lisa just wouldn't quit. Things really hit a wall when I met my now husband Brian while I was studying abroad. He was from a different university but from the same country. We clicked right away. Felt special, like something real. After a year of dating, we got engaged. Most of my family was thrilled, except for my sister. She kept telling me it was just a phase and that it'd fade with time. But it didn't. After constant arguments and more of her attempts to reconnect me with my ex, I finally told her if she pulled another stunt, I'd cut her off completely. And what does she do? She made me her maid of honor and arranged things so I'd be stuck with the bridal party. Yep, that included John. She even assigned one of her friends as my fiancé's date for the event. We didn't find out until the reception, when that woman actually tried to hit on my husband. My sister later said it was fine since we weren't technically married yet, so exploring was okay. I left the reception that night. The next day, I had a serious talk with my parents and brother. I told them I wasn't asking them to take sides, but I wouldn't be speaking to my sister again. And if anyone tried to force a reunion, I'd walk away from them too. My mom was heartbroken and tried to change my mind, but my dad and brother said they understood and would stand by my choice. It's been a lot of years since then. Aside from a couple of attempts from my mom, I haven't had any contact with Lisa. No texts, no messages, nothing. She's tried everything to get me to forgive her. Gifts, dramatic outbursts, but I ignore all of it. When we happen to be at the same family gatherings, I act like she's not even there. At first, she'd make passive-aggressive comments or try to start something, but no one backed her up, so eventually she gave up. She did have a full-blown meltdown when she found out she was invited to my wedding but wouldn't be involved in any of the planning. My brother later told me he felt bad for not speaking up sooner, and his friendship with John hasn't been the same since. They still talk here and there, but the closeness is gone. Now here's the latest mess. A couple weeks ago, during my mom's birthday party, I announced that Brian and I are expecting our first baby. It's not the first grandkid, but it is the first granddaughter, and everyone was over the moon except Lisa. Later, my mom invited me over for tea. I had a gut feeling it wasn't a great idea, but I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. As soon as I pulled up and saw my sister's car, I knew something was off. I walked in and sure enough, there she was, with her husband, my ex, and even my ex's mom. They'd put together some kind of intervention. They told me I'd been holding a grudge too long and needed to grow up. John said he was just being romantic back then, though he understood if I didn't see it that way. His mom chimed in saying my sister meant well and had already apologized, so I needed to forgive and move on. I was texting my husband, my dad, and my brother the whole time while just staring at my mom in total disbelief. Then my brother-in-law had the nerve to tell me I was being cruel and needed to act like a real adult now that I was going to be a mom. My mom pulled out a letter she'd written, full of how heartbroken she was that her daughters weren't close. She admitted Lisa was wrong, but kept insisting it all came from a good place. Then my sister read her own letter and broke down crying, repeating the same story everyone else had already told. I didn't say a word. Just sat there quietly until my brother Andrew walked in. I've never seen him that furious. He picked up my things, looked at everyone in the room, and said he was disgusted and deeply let down. We left and waited in his car until Brian and Dad arrived. By that point, I was sobbing and Andrew kept telling me how sorry he was. I'm not sure what happened inside the house after we left, but I sent out an email later to everyone involved, except my mom, giving them my lawyer's contact info and making it clear I didn't want to be contacted ever again. I warned them that if they reached out, I'd go straight to the police. Nobody's contacted me since, but my dad told me that both my mom and sister were falling apart emotionally. Apparently, they were hoping we'd all make peace and that Lisa could somehow be involved in my baby's life. She even wanted to be the godmother. My dad's been staying at my brother's place. Both of them have my back, though not every relative does. I've had a few mutual friends call to check in, saying my sister is telling people that Brian's the one isolating me from my family. I've never liked having personal drama out in public, but this time I decided to lay it all out. I posted a long message on Facebook explaining what really happened. I didn't plan on airing it to get sympathy, but now Lisa, her husband, and my ex are being called out, and honestly, they had it coming. My mom has been an emotional wreck over everything, which does make me feel a little guilty. But nowhere near as awful as I felt during that ambush she arranged. We did talk a few days ago. I agreed to meet, but only under strict conditions. I laid out some ground rules if we were ever going to have a relationship again. She has to go to therapy, we need to do family therapy, there must be hard boundaries, no passing info to my sister, and holidays have to be spent separately. And I told her flat out, if anything like that intervention ever happens again, she'll be cut off completely. She thinks I'm being too harsh, but she said she'll go along with it. At first, she acted like everything was back to normal and assumed she'd get baby updates right away. I had to explain that this is going to be a slow process. She has to actually show change before anything moves forward. My dad and brother still refuse to speak to my sister and keep apologizing for not stepping in sooner. I've forgiven them because they've owned their mistakes and grown from them. My husband is behind me no matter what I decide. My mother-in-law isn't sure if cutting my mom out of our daughter's life is the best call, but she agrees that it's ultimately my choice. Honestly, I'm still torn about what to do with my mom. John and I split when I was 19. He's 37 now. We broke up because I didn't want to be engaged or married at that age. My sister's obsession with getting us back together mostly comes from this fantasy she had about us marrying brothers and all becoming best friends. Sounds ridiculous, but that's where she's coming from. My mom has always been sweet to my husband on the surface, but lately I've started wondering if it was all just for show. That thought really hurts. My ex hasn't been celibate since me, he's been with other women and even has 2 kids with a former partner, though they never married. But Lisa keeps spinning it like some grand romantic gesture, claiming he's only ever wanted to marry me. Truth is, the obsessive behavior isn't limited to me. I've heard through the grapevine that he acted the same way with the mother of his children. Now he's fixated on me again, thanks to my sister egging him on. She's using him to try and worm her way back into my life and play the role of good aunt. My brother began distancing himself from the John once I told her parents how uncomfortable his presence made me. Back then I was in college and would come home during breaks. My brother went out of his way to welcome my now husband into the family, and that really hurt his friendship with my ex, who felt betrayed. These days, Andrew and Brian are super close and he only talks to my ex when it has to do with Lisa's son, or just to be polite. My parents claim they support my decision to keep some distance from John, but looking back, I think only my dad really meant it. That day at the tea party, my mom told my dad she was making my favorite tea and sweets, but said he couldn't stay because she wanted some one-on-one time with me. He ended up going to hang out with my uncle, thinking it was a thoughtful little gesture from her. When he found out what actually happened, he was absolutely furious. When my husband first met my sister, he really put in the effort to get along with her. But after everything that's happened, he doesn't even acknowledge her anymore. In his opinion, there might be something seriously wrong with her mentally. Whether or not that's true, there's no justifying the way she's acted. They brought John and his mom to that so-called intervention because they thought it would somehow help me confront the root of my issues with Lisa, or at least, that's the version of the story they're sticking with. For the record, we're not Indian, not particularly religious, and both Brian and I come from the same background. There's also no difference in wealth between my husband and my ex. If anything, Brian might even have a bit of an edge financially. Both my sisters-in-law, my brother's wife and Brian's sisters, are furious about what went down. My husband and his sisters actually plan to speak with their mom about a certain comment she made that didn't sit right with any of us. Meanwhile, Andrew and his wife are thinking about cutting contact with my mom for the foreseeable future. They've also decided she won't be seeing my nephews for now. The more I reflect on everything, the more I realize that for the sake of our child's future, I may need to go no contact with my mom as well. My husband is heartbroken over it all. He's wrestling with the thought that maybe every interaction he had with my mom was just an act. But what's made him even more upset is the way she made me question myself, made me cry, and left me wondering if I was somehow in the wrong. I know there are still a lot of conversations I need to have with my family about my mom. But one thing is certain, I'll be pursuing a restraining order against my sister and my ex. As for the state of my family right now, I had another talk with my mom, but she just doubled down. She told me she knew better, called me a terrible person, and even said she'd be seeking legal rights as a grandparent, or worse, trying to get custody. I know I'm not the person she paints me to be, but it still shook me up. So we had a letter sent her way to set the record straight. My dad has since moved out and doesn't plan on going back. He told her point blank that he couldn't support her if she was going to torment their own daughter. My brother and his wife also went no contact. I know it might all sound like it escalated quickly, but looking back, I think I didn't even realize just how deep the pain ran after that intervention. After everything, Brian sat down with them and said they needed to think long and hard about their values. He made it clear that while we can be kind and open to healing, we're not about to raise a child in a toxic environment. Just one more reason among so many why I love that man. My husband is crushed by the betrayal from my mom, and he told me she'd never be getting anything from him again. That's as far as he goes in terms of payback. He and his sisters had a sit down with my mother-in-law about her earlier comment, and thankfully she understood how wrong it was. She comes from a warm, loving family, and I think she just got caught up without realizing the damage. My dad and brother haven't stopped apologizing. My dad still can't believe this is where we've ended up. He says it feels unreal most days. But both of them have made it clear they're in my corner now, and they're ready to help if my mom or sister try anything else. My brother and his wife had a talk with their kids and explained that Grandma is unwell and had tried to hurt Auntie Carrie and the baby. They let the boys know Grandma wouldn't be part of their lives anymore, but that didn't mean she didn't care about them. It was a tough conversation, but those kids are sharp. They were also told their other aunt wouldn't be around anymore either, and they didn't seem to mind. Turns out they weren't too fond of her, not just because of me, but because she never treated them very well either. When my mom found out, she completely lost it. Started ranting about her rights and claiming she'd find a way to see her grandkids. Right now, my dad is staying with us through February. He's looking for a permanent place of his own, but it made sense for him to stay here since Andrew's mother-in-law is visiting and we've got the space. He's heartbroken, already in touch with divorce lawyers, has moved his banking stuff and taken other steps. He's been getting nonstop messages, emails, and calls from my mom, but he's ignoring them all. His lawyer advised him not to block her yet, just in case. He even considered forgiving her at one point, but that all changed when my blood pressure spiked a few days ago, right after my mom showed up at our home with Lisa. Up until that point, my sister had never even been to my house. My mom knew I didn't want her showing up, but clearly that didn't matter to her anymore. The cleaning lady let her and Lisa inside because she's familiar with my mom, and I hadn't gotten around to telling her my mom was no longer allowed in the house. I had just gotten back from running a few errands when I saw their car parked out front. I didn't even go inside. Instead, I started calling my relatives, and it was my sister-in-law, my husband's sister, who happened to be the closest. She confronted them right then and there, telling them to leave or I'd call the police and report them for trespassing. They ended up leaving, but I started feeling really sick afterward. We went to the doctor, and they told me all the stress and chaos were putting me and the baby at risk. I needed to rest, no more surprises like that. My dad came back to the house with my brother, my uncle, and my husband. They helped gather everything we needed to feel safe and prepared. My husband told me that my sister was still around, yelling at him the whole time and accusing him of destroying her family. After that, my dad confronted both my mom and sister. He told them straight up that they had nearly harmed their unborn grandchild and he had no desire to speak to either of them again. My sister kept messaging Andrew, begging him to help her fix things, but he's not getting involved anymore. Honestly, my heart breaks for my nephew. He's losing a big part of his family because his mom believes in these twisted ideas, but there's only so much we can do. As for my mom and her talk about grandparent rights and custody, my lawyer sent her a letter explaining that she put my health and the baby's well-being at risk. If she kept pushing, it would become a legal matter. My brother also sent a letter addressing her ongoing harassment. Neither my mom nor Lisa has shown any interest in going to therapy. They might truly be struggling mentally, but from everything that's come to light, it's clear they've been working together behind our backs for quite a while. Right now, I'm focusing on keeping my family safe, protecting my peace, staying healthy, and continuing with therapy. Honestly, part of me hoped sharing the news about baby's gender would be something special for my mom. But looking back, that was just wishful thinking. Even though nothing turned up at first, we still didn't feel safe. We decided to stay at a hotel with my dad. And then we made a chilling discovery. There was a tracker hidden in my dog's vest. He's a little guy who gets cold easily, so he wears this goofy little vest. It never even crossed my mind that someone might have put something there. We figured it out after my dad took him out for a walk near the hotel, and my sister suddenly appeared, asking questions about me and trying to push the idea of reconciliation again. That was the final straw. We decided to move. Thankfully, we had the means to make it happen. Right now, we're renting a new place and also renting out the old one so it doesn't sit empty. I used to love that house. Now it just feels contaminated, like it's not mine anymore. Sadly, even my parents' home feels the same way now. And I know I'm not the only one who feels that way. Brian, brother, dad, and in-laws all feel the shift too. To keep everyone safe and private, we changed phone numbers, replaced our electronics, and informed our employers, friends, and the police. We also started therapy, both individual and as a family. My dad and brother have a lot of guilt about everything that happened, even though I've told them over and over again that I've truly forgiven them. The important thing is that we're healing together. Meanwhile, my mom and sister are still insisting they've done nothing wrong and refuse to even consider therapy. My dad went so far as to rewrite his will. He left a trust fund and inheritance for my sister's son, but gave my sister herself just a small token. He's officially done with her. I do feel bad for her sometimes, but I've made the decision to pour all my energy into my baby. She's here now, and we feel beyond lucky to have her. Sure, it's not the version of new motherhood I imagined, especially without my mom around, but the love we've received from friends and extended family has blown us away. By the end of it all, we were so paranoid that we started testing a few people we weren't sure about. We told them I was going into labor, just to see what would happen. And you know what? It worked. We figured out exactly who was still leaking information to my mom and sister, and we cut those people out too. The rest of our friends and family understood our reasons once we explained the whole situation. Meanwhile, my ex started going around telling people that the baby was his. According to him, we were having some dramatic, secret affair because I was still hopelessly in love with him. Of course, no one believes that nonsense anymore, but it was enough to make Brian reach out to John, employer, and explain everything that had been going on. To keep it brief, John got suspended while they started an internal review. From the way things are going, how often they're asking us for details, and how apologetic they've been, it's pretty likely he's going to be let go. My mom's still trying to track us down, but everyone who knows where we live has cut off contact with her. My dad's lawyer sent her a notice saying that, due to her instability, all communication must now go through legal channels. It's been just us and my dad lately because I couldn't bear the thought of him being alone through all of this. He keeps telling me he's okay and that none of it is my fault, but I still feel guilty. Despite everything, he's been amazing. Hands down, the best babysitter, bottle feeder, and diaper changer I could have imagined. My nephews have been just as loving as always, and my dad even got to see Lisa's son recently. That happened because my sister kept posting dramatic videos online, threatening to hurt herself if Brian didn't stop, keeping her away from her family. So my dad contacted her and said he'd call the police if she didn't stop. That seems to have put an end to it for now. Someone once suggested I might have led John on or given him false hope, but that couldn't be further from the truth. I spent years feeling uncomfortable, hoping he'd eventually move on. Then once I met my husband and finally spoke up, it turned into a long, exhausting battle with Lisa about the whole thing. My engagement was drawn out, which is part of why I got married after Lisa. And even though I still love my mom and sister in some distant way, I'm choosing peace and a healthy life for my family over that love. This whole experience has shown me so much unexpected loyalty and compassion from others. As strange as it might sound, I'm actually thankful that everything blew up the way it did. It opened my eyes. Eventually, we've officially moved into our new home. My dad moved into the guest house. We had several good, honest talks, some with therapists, some without, and decided that while it's good for him to be nearby, we all still need our own space. We're still renting out our old place and haven't made a final decision on what to do with it yet. These days, my dad gathers the grandkids about 3 times a week. When it comes to seeing my sister's son, though, it has to be done separately. She refuses to let my dad take him anywhere unless she knows exactly where he's living. Now, that's not a totally unreasonable request, but with everything she's done, we just can't allow her to come around. My mom has complained to the lawyers about how unfair it is that my dad still gets to see all the grandkids while she doesn't, but there's nothing she can do about it now. About a month ago, my dad told me something that made my stomach turn. He's been paying for my nephew's education and childcare. That's the real reason Lisa still lets him see her son. He felt awful for keeping it from me and didn't want to hide it any longer. I told him he had nothing to feel bad about. On Mother's Day, he got an email with a link to an Instagram video. It was some dramatic, tearful post about my mom, painting her as abandoned and my sister as this devoted saint standing by her side. It was honestly embarrassing. I just forwarded it to the lawyer and moved on. My dad filed for divorce in April and it's still moving through the process. My mom keeps insisting he's making a huge mistake, but he told me, and I quote, he'd rather drink bleach than go back to her. So yeah, that sounds pretty final to me. Father's Day was a different story entirely. My brother and husband took my dad out and made sure he had an amazing day. My sister tried to post all kinds of nonsense that day too, but they blocked him from seeing any of it. They even planned a camping trip for the kids, which in reality was just booking a big hotel suite. They set up a little tent inside for the kids to play in and even made a tiny teepee for the baby. It was perfect. Honestly, becoming a mom has been one of the most incredible things to happen to me. Watching Brian step into the role of dad exactly the way I knew he would, it fills my heart. Sure, it's exhausting, but we're surrounded by so much support that I just feel thankful. I've got my strong foundation and that's all I need. My sisters-in-law and I even made a shared calendar for kid-friendly activities. Everything is age-appropriate and totally optional. We've made it clear to the kids that they don't have to spend time with anyone they don't like. Their voices matter. These days, everyone's totally smitten with the baby. They call themselves her little bodyguards, and we've been having regular get-togethers, brunches, walks, small family hangouts. Honestly, spending time with family has become something I actually look forward to now. It's peaceful. No tension, no drama, just good people and good moments. And I know it's not kind to say, but without Lisa around, things just feel lighter. She always had this way of sucking the joy out of the room. My mother-in-law also loves being around the baby. She stays over about once a week in the guest room, but always respectfully asks first. She's not trying to overstep. She even said she's not looking for baby sleepovers or anything like that. Just wants to be close and help however she can. I feel really seen by her, and I'll admit, I've broken down a few times just because I miss my mom, at least, the mom I thought I had. What I really long for is the version of her that made me feel safe, not the one who called me a spiteful woman or told me I'd make a horrible mother. My therapist reminds me that healing is a long process, more of a marathon than a sprint, and encourages me to stay focused on the good. And speaking of good, John finally got fired. Completely tanked his reputation in his industry too. His brother didn't get off as easy either, though he managed to keep his job since his line of work doesn't put much stock in reputation. But John? He's done. That said, he still found the time to send me a ridiculous 10-page letter, both sides of every page, almost no spacing, pouring out how devastated he is. According to him, I've stolen something that belongs to him, and Brian only ruined his career because he couldn't ruin anything else. I didn't bother reading it. My lawyer gave me the short version and that was enough. And even though I don't go looking for updates, people still tell me things. Apparently, the mother of his kids moved away, and he didn't even bat an eye. Said it was for the best. The man clearly doesn't care about his own children, but wants to play happy family with my baby and me? It's beyond disturbing. Unfortunately, he's not struggling the way you'd hope someone like that might. His mother let him move back into her house, so he's perfectly comfortable. Probably won't learn a single thing from any of this. Oh, and one more thing, Brian went through and either burned or donated every single item he'd ever gotten from my mom or my parents. Did it with my dad's full support too. He told me that life's just too short to leave room for someone who's hurt his family like that, not even in the form of a memory.